think that looks fine. Hello! Ugh. Welcome once again to Stuff and Things, where I like to talk about stuff and occasionally even things. I'm your good friend Bradley, and today is a very pleasant Sunday Stuff and Things. And on this pleasant Sunday Stuff and Things, we have stuff and things to talk about, including upcoming videos, things that you can look forward to on Stuff and Things, and working. We're going to get into a little bit of NFL stuff because I haven't talked about it at all this entire season, but we'll just briefly touch on it, don't worry. Oh, but before we do that, I want to run some other ideas by you for potential videos in the future, just get a little feedback from that. Then a little NFL. Then we're going to talk about revisiting GLP's Stratford, which I have just done recently, just recorded a video on this. There's a lot of interesting history, with my relationship with Stratford. It's a blend that's appeared several times on this channel, so we'll talk a little bit about that. And then of course we'll have your questions, comments, and feedback in hashtag askstuffandthings. So let's get into it. All right, gang, so what can you look forward to on Stuff and Things and working? Well, first of all, the episode coming up this week on Stuff and Things will be the one I mentioned last week, in which I go through the process of ordering a pair of custom boots from Nicks Handmade Boots. They haven't arrived yet. I think it's been 7 weeks since I ordered them, maybe 7 or 8 weeks. A lot of people were saying, oh, it should be taking you like 15 to 20 weeks. I saw on their website that the lead times were anywhere from like 9 to 15 weeks. So I don't know, we'll see. I might get them soon, hopefully I do, and then I'll be able to give or show you a box opening video and then do a full review, probably do a timeless style video, but I'm very much looking forward to those boots. I'm a little worried about the fit. We'll see if it all works, but you'll be seeing that pretty much as soon as I do, because I'll post a video as soon as I get those boots in the mail. Then the week after that, we will be doing the revisited episode for GLP's Stratford. It has been quite a while since I've had a tin of this, and had some interesting new thoughts on the blend, so check that out the week after next. And then the working episode this week is working episode 21, and that is where we are finally pouring the gigantic foundation that we've been working on for weeks now. We got interrupted in the middle because of inclement weather, freezing, snow, all sorts of stuff. The holidays were thrown in there as well. Feels like we've been working on this foundation for a very long time, and it was also just a horrible site to work on. I just was exhausted every day. I'm so glad that we're done, pretty much done. We still have to do a garage later, but that's after they backfill and do everything else. But anyway, it's all been culminating in this, all the videos leading up to this, pouring this gigantic foundation. Check it out on Working this week. Please, if you haven't checked out Working, do it. It's a great channel. I think the videos are very interesting. So lots of good stuff coming up, and in our next little segment, I'll be talking about some more videos that might potentially show up on the show, on the channel, if you guys express some interest. So many of you know that I've been getting into photography a lot more recently. I've always been into photography, but I had some videos on Polaroid film photography. I got an old 80s Polaroid Sun 660 instant camera and was using that. And then I got a really cool Polaroid SX70 camera. But I also am thinking about maybe getting a small, compact digital camera that I can just take with me everywhere and just really start doing a lot more photography. I was thinking about getting a little film camera too, but that just seems like such a hassle and so expensive too, with buying the film and then processing the film and all that stuff. So anyway, just curious if there is anyone out there in the audience who would be interested in seeing more photography content on the channel. Let me know in the comments below. Thinking about like street photography, landscape photography, just going out, taking pictures, showing you the results. Does that interest you at all? Because I think I'm probably gonna grab, you know, a less expensive, smaller, compact camera that I can just always have with me. The Canon R6 that I'm recording this video with is fantastic, even though it's several years old now. Still great for video, great for photography too, but it's just really big and it would be really expensive to replace if anything ever happened to it. So it's not something that I'm just gonna have hanging off me all the time. Anyway, let me know if that sounds interesting. And then also, I was thinking of doing a video in which I do a complete setup for one of my guitars. It's getting around that time now where I need to replace strings, which I do not as often as some people do, but I do fairly often. But I also need to do a complete setup on my guitars, and I thought maybe you would like to see that. So if there's any interest for that, let me know in the comments below as well. Thank you. Okay. I'm wearing the throwback Seahawks sideline beanie so that if you don't want to hear about football at all, you can fast forward through this section. We briefly have to mention the NFL. I don't think I mentioned the Seahawks a single time throughout the entire season. I knew they weren't going to go very far. I thought it might be fun if they made the playoffs, but I didn't expect that they would actually get anywhere in the playoffs. I like Geno. I like what they've been building with the team, but I don't think Geno is the future as far as the quarterback goes. And I had been feeling for the last couple seasons that maybe it was time for Pete Carroll to go. He's the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks. I love Pete Carroll. He was amazing for Seattle and for Pacific Northwest sports and for the Seahawks. Got us a Super Bowl. But it just seemed like we were always kind of on the cusp and never able to go over that hill, never reach the next level again. We would get to the playoffs every once in a while, but always get kicked out, never got to the championship again, weren't getting to the championship game. And it just seems like, I don't know, we were kind of in a rut, and so I was ready to shake things up a little bit, and that happened. Pete Carroll was let go by the Seahawks at the end of this season, and now they have just announced that they are hiring Mike Macdonald from the Ravens, who was their defensive coordinator. He's going to be the Seahawks head coach. He's only 36 years old, which is funny because Pete Carroll was in his 70s, I don't know, 72, 73. He was the oldest coach in the NFL. And now they are replacing him with a person who is going to be the youngest coach in the NFL or head coach in the NFL. So very interesting. I was kind of hoping they would go for someone more, I don't know, Sean McVay-ish. He's the head coach of the Rams, someone who is more into explosive offense. A lot of these defensive-minded coaches, I don't know if that's something that will really translate to success because the offenses are usually so high-powered in the NFL. But anyway, I'm interested to see what's going to happen. I don't know what they're going to do at quarterback, but a new era. I think it's time for a change, and I'm happy that a change is occurring. But also, all respect and love to Pete Carroll. He's an amazing guy and was an amazing coach. NFL in general, the two teams that I most really didn't want to get into the Super Bowl are the two teams that are going to be in the Super Bowl. The Kansas City Chiefs for the AFC and the San Francisco 49ers for the NFC. The 49ers, just because they're in the same conference as the Seahawks, there's been a lot of rivalry between the 49ers and the Seahawks throughout the years, and I just don't want another NFC West team to win the Super Bowl. That's all that is. Even though I do like the whole Brock Purdy story. And I like Christian McCaffrey. The Kansas City Chiefs, I'm just so sick of them, and I think a lot of people feel that way, but I'm really sick of them. I was really hoping they would get knocked out. I was hoping the Bills would be in there, actually. I'd really like to see the Bills in the Super Bowl, and I'd love to see them get a Super Bowl ring. Sorry to all the Kansas City fans out there, but I just have never liked them. There's something about Patrick Mahomes that just bugs me. I don't know what it is. It's kind of like a Muppet that's been brought to life. He has the voice of Seth Rogen, except pitched like several octaves higher. Like, I don't know. There's just something about it, but I don't want to be mean, but there's just something about him that bugs me. I can't deny that he's amazingly talented, but I don't know. I just don't like the Chiefs. So not super invested in the Super Bowl, but I am pretty interested to see what happens with the Seahawks next year. And I'll be following them throughout the offseason to see what kind of moves they make. All right, football segment over. I'm now wearing my normal hat, and we will talk about normal things. Mainly, GLP's Stratford, and the fact that I did a revisited episode on this. And it's interesting because I went back and watched the other videos that I have done on Stratford to prepare myself for the revisited episode. And I did the initial review in 2017. And then I think it was in 2018, I was trying to find a replacement for Elizabethan. That was a whole drawn out saga. And I had narrowed that down to 3 blends. It was GLP's Stratford, what else? I think Telegraph Hill. Yeah, GLP's Telegraph Hill, and then GLP's Fillmore. And I think Stratford was second place. Telegraph Hill, I think, was like a broken flake, and I really wanted just a nice, easy ribbon cut. I wanted a vapor, I wanted an easy ribbon cut, and I wanted something that was really easily available or readily available. And so Stratford and Fillmore were the 2 finalists. I ended up picking Fillmore, which some of you may find hilarious because I posted that video recently in which a tin of Fillmore destroyed me. But back then I was having Fillmore as my staple everyday blend. So obviously there was something weird about that tin. Anyway, Stratford came in second place. And so thinking back, I was like, yeah, I must have really liked that. I really liked Stratford. But then I watched the initial review and I was kind of meh on it. I didn't dislike it, but I just said it was very, almost kind of boring, very middle of the road, nothing really exciting about it, nothing you could really point to, not super spicy, not super strong, not super weak, not really sweet, not really bitter, not really anything. And I thought that was strange because it ended up being one of the finalists for my replacing Elizabethan blend. So then I watched the video I did on it when I was trying to find my replacement for Elizabethan, and it seemed that by that point I had kind of learned to appreciate the fact that it wasn't anything more than just a nice, basic, stolid, dependable vapor blend. That's kind of what Elizabethan is to me anyway, even though I think Elizabethan does taste amazing. It's not, to me, super strong. It's not super spicy. There's nothing you could point to and go, whoa, let's throw some superlatives at that, because that's crazy. It's just like a nice, basic, dependable vapor blend. I think a really good, dependable vapor blend. And that's kind of where I was going with Stratford at the time. So I did the revisited episode, and I remembered some things. Some things were familiar, but then there were other things that I definitely either didn't notice or didn't focus on back when I did this review initially. Now, obviously, part of the interesting thing about the revisited series is the fact that it's relying on my memory and the fact that my taste may have changed, but it also has to do with the fact that blends can change over time as well. So it's always interesting to try to tease out, are my feelings different if they are different because I like different things now, or I have moved on, or are they different because the blend itself isn't the same as it was when I had it initially? So this one surprised me. I was definitely detecting things that I didn't detect before, and it's cool. It's nice to come back to a blend like this and realize, oh yeah, this still has a lot to offer, and it's something that I might want to include just in my regular rotation. GLP's Stratford. Check out the revisited episode, not this next week, but the week after. All right, gang, but now it is time for hashtag #AskStuffandThings, and I think we have to zip through this because I've been talking way too much. We have lots of good feedback. If you would like to ask me a question, you can tweet at SATBradley with the hashtag #AskStuffandThings. You can write to me via Patreon and go right to the front of the line if you're a Patreon supporter. You can hit the super thanks button under this video, go right to the front of the line, or you can write to me, leave comments under my YouTube videos with your feedback, questions, etc. We have a question from @GreatPeter. It's spelled weirdly, but I think that's what he's going for. Hey Bradley, I've been carrying my Lamy Safari Terra as my EDC pen since last April, and I love it. However, I need some advice. I have always had black ink in it, but received a variety pack of diamine inks and chose to try out pumpkin. Long story short, even after lots of rinsing and flushing, I'm getting more of a brown color due to residual black ink under the nib. I removed the nib and cleaned, but still getting a brown color. Thanks, Bradley. I always look forward to listening in on my drive to and from work. P.S. It's always funny when coworkers or friends ask to borrow my pen and don't know how to hold a fountain pen. Yes. Okay, thank you very much. This is Nick B. from North Carolina. It depends on the inks you're using. If I am doing a really big color difference between the two, if I'm cleaning out a pen and I started with like a light blue and I'm going to be putting a black in it, then I don't care. The black is going to overpower the light blue if there's any residual ink in there. If I'm going from something really dark to something light though, then I will do a much more thorough cleaning. I'll usually take the nib out entirely and really rinse the feed. I also use a little bulb syringe that I fill with water and I shoot it through the whole feed of the pen. Those of you who are into fountain pens will know what I'm talking about. So that really helps. If you're able to do that, that will usually get out pretty much every little bit of residual ink. There are also rinses you can do and soaks you can do, but I think that should work for you if you want to try that. Next, from Sergei Gorakov. Have you read The Brothers Karamazov by Dostoevsky or The Idiot? If yes, what are your impressions? I've been putting off Dostoevsky for all my life until recently, and I was completely blown away by the books. In case you want to read the question out loud, my name is pronounced Sergei Gorakov. Okay, I think I pretty much said that. I have not read Brothers Karamazov. I have not read The Idiot. I think the only thing I've read by Dostoevsky is Crime and Punishment. But I should. Brothers Karamazov is probably one of Diamond's favorite books of all time. So yeah, I will definitely read those at some point when I want to feel bleak and gray for a while. Next, we have some feedback from last week's Sunday Stuff and Things. This is from @Bisate's Warrior. Tea's price is going on insanely high everywhere, and in Italy as well. Even the cheapest pouches are above 10 euros, while most of the tins are 25 euros plus. Just about a year ago, I started taking occasional trips to Switzerland, where aside from the far grander offering most of the US and known blends are available, they cost a quarter of the price. Taxes are the only thing that adds to it, and the hypocrisy of state monopoly that raises prices and slaps a gruesome label about cancer, health, and the like. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much taxes. It's pretty much laws passed to try to dissuade people from essing because they put pipes in the same category as cigarettes, which they should not do, but it's impossible to get them to think in any other way. Thanks for the question. So last week I was talking about somebody was asking if I had noticed that prices were rising extremely, and I didn't think they were really. I mean, they're high, but I didn't think they had been going up, exponentially in the last couple of years. Next, we have @BullMoosePiper7732. Yes, tea prices are rising just like everything else is rising. Just like you said, it all depends on where you are in the world, but in general, yes, the prices are rising. The price of cigars has gone into the stratosphere, which I think is driving some cigar essers to the P. The advice I would give to Jorge is this: if you want to be essing your P well into the future, you better start buying tea in quantity right now. Buy as much as you can of what you like right now. Buy a little every month if you can. That's my strategy. You can find incredible value in fantastic bulk blends. And goes on about different blends he likes. We'll get to this. I want to discuss this a little bit. And then we have @Bottleneck Piper. Funny you should mention watching Stuff and Things Plays today. I decided to watch the first Zelda series for the first time recently. I was so blown away that I ordered a Switch OLED and both of the Zelda games that you made videos of just to play them. Thank you for those videos, and I plan to enjoy both of the games and your videos. Thank you so much. That's really cool to hear. And yeah, gang, check out Stuff and Things Plays. I'm not posting new content to there now, at least for the foreseeable future, but there are still tons of cool series for you to watch. Getting back to this whole exponential rising of tea prices, this is from J. Mauricio CA. I have read all the comments and have come to a conclusion. People believe that prices will continue to rise in the future. Therefore, they decide to buy more tea and sell her today. But this itself creates inflationary pressure due to excess of demand. Now, I think there is also a fear that the FDA will impose restrictions on the sale of tea, which motivates people to keep buying more and more and driving up the prices more and more. At the end, it's all about a race to not run out of tea, but that unconsciously generates a rise in prices. Perhaps there will come a time when many people can no longer afford these prices, or for other reasons, perhaps health, decide to change their hobby, which would stabilize prices. But in this crazy world, nobody can answer what will happen tomorrow. Yes, I don't know why I write my entire name on YouTube. Thank you for your effort to pronounce my name correctly. Regards, Mauricio. So I'm pretty much in your camp, Mauricio. I think that even though you guys can do what you want out there, there were so many people leaving comments with the advice that buy all you can while you can. It's not going to be here forever. You got to buy out any blend that you like, buy as much as you can of it, put it away so you'll have a stock for the rest of your life. That's exactly the wrong thing to do, I think, because yes, panic buying is what causes prices to go up. It's what causes shortages, and then it's what makes manufacturers think, oh, well, we can just charge whatever we want for this. And obviously the prices the manufacturer's charging is a small percentage of what we're paying for these blends. A lot of it is taxes. But it's like what happened with COVID and toilet paper. There was no reason for there to be a shortage of toilet paper when COVID first hit. The only thing that caused there to be a shortage was people thinking we might not be able to get toilet paper, so let's buy up all the toilet paper. They created an artificial shortage because of panic buying, and then when I went to the store to just buy one pack of toilet paper, there was no toilet paper left because people had been filling their station wagons and minivans. I don't think people drive station wagons anymore. People have been filling their SUVs with as much toilet paper as they could buy and screwing everybody else. That's the wrong thing to do. If you want to put a little bit away every month, I think that's a good idea. It's nice to have a stock, it's nice to have a cellar, but no panic buying. Panic buying is a bad idea. It just hurts everyone else in the hobby in general. Next, we have some feedback from the Red Rapparee review. Hopefully my camera's gonna keep going here. We have at WTF Serpico. Yeasty meat and old moldy wine corks. That's the way Diamond described the room note of Red Rapparee. She did not like it. That's a wonderful description, and I have a great idea of what she was trying to get at. My sense memory works very similarly, so instead of thinking about specific flavors and smells, I think in ideas like my grandmother's musty basement, a bucket of rusty screws, or chewable vitamins. I tend to do that as well. It's like experiences that I've had or things that it'll be reminiscent of a flavor or a texture or something that I've experienced in the past. At Tom Brown 1898 says, Bradley, Diamond definitely has a way with descriptions. I love her take on the room note. Don't agree with her, but given the trite vagueness of many tea reviewers, it was refreshing to hear. As for the Black Cavendish, to the Brits, it is a stoved Virginia, not a steamed Burley, which is why I prefer the British version most of the time. Don't know which type K&K uses, but my guess would be the Stove Virginias. I believe that as well. Which is naturally spicy and mildly sweet. Gonna get me some. Thank you for the excellent review. Thank you, Tom. Almost running out of battery. One of my favorites. Oh, this is from @tone5315. One of my favorites. A real hidden gem that I am stacking as a maniac just in case that, God forbids it, someday it gets off the market. No panic buying. If you think it's good now, let it rest for a year in a jar and it'll blow your mind. Thank you, Tone5315. But yeah, please leave some for the rest of us. All right, gang, thank you so much for all that feedback. I'm sorry I'm stumbling over my words because I'm trying to get through this, but that makes me take even longer because I'm stammering and stumbling. But now it is time for the very best part of the show, and that is where we thank our Patreon supporters. Remember, if you would like to support the channels on Patreon, there is a link in the description box below, and it is so appreciated. It helps pay for the fancy camera that is filming this video now, the lights that are shining upon me, other products for review. It just makes the whole show go. And I really, really want to thank those of you who have decided to support the channels on Patreon. We're still doing a drive for 100 $5 supporters, so get on there and support us if you like what we do. But every week we like to shout out those who support the channels at $25 or more a month. They're kind of like producers. People like Glenn Dunnington, Jason Buckner, David Gaudreau, Ryan McFadin, Arcturus, Ashes of the Phoenix, and Jonathon Proctor. And of course, the Maniacs, the crazy people who support the channels at $100 a month, people like Bob Magee. And we'll never forget our dearly departed friend and Hall of Fame member, Peter Straub. Gang, please stay tuned for all the good stuff coming up on the channel. And like I mentioned, if you want to see the video on the guitar setup or more photography videos, let me know in the comments below. Let me know whatever's on your mind in the comments below. But until next time, until we meet again, I've been your good friend Bradley. You've been the audience. This has been Stuff and Things on a very pleasant Sunday Stuff and Things. I'll see you later. I got through it. Almost lost my voice.